Today marks 1 year since Israeli embassy staffers Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky were shot and killed outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. The Justice Department recently said it was seeking the death penalty against the attacker, who faces federal hate crime murder charges. Authorities say he had expressed deep anger toward Israel before he approached the pair as they left the young diplomat's reception at the museum and opened fire. Joining us now, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Your thoughts 1 year later and where we are?
Look, it's a sad, sad time. I mean, that attack a year ago, this was a young couple who were set to be engaged in a few days.
Yep.
And this man, he approached them, I mean, just to put this in context, from behind. He shot them in the back as they walked out of the museum. I mean, it was awful. And keep in mind that this week, a year ago, we had an 82-year-old woman, Karen Diamond, who was burned to death in broad daylight in a park in Boulder, Colorado, by a man who said he wanted to kill all the Zionists. So I think something broke when those young people were killed, the hope they represented. And, you know, look, 2025 was one of the most violent years that we've tracked at ADL. We had 200 plus assaults across the country. The home of the governor was burned down in Harrisburg. Just last month, a man tried to drive his car through a synagogue and blow it up and kill as many children as he could. So there is an epidemic of anti-Semitism that has overtaken this country. You see it on both sides. Tucker Carlson and Hassan Piker. You have congressional candidates saying horrible things. So Jews are worried. And I think the thing about anti-Semitism, it spreads. Yeah. Like our hearts break for the Muslim community in San Diego. The Islamic Center, the mosque, was attacked by a madman who, again, was in his writings that we've seen at ADL. He expressed sympathies with Nazi ideology, hated immigrants, Jews, and tried to murder as many Muslims as he could. So let's just acknowledge that hate is a toxin that kills everyone that it can infect.
John, let's spend another beat on that. We're seeing footage here from the San Diego and the incident there. Just how important it is that the people across faiths stand together to say that, yes, that hate has no place anywhere against any faith.
100%. Like, yes, as Jews, we're dealing with an epidemic of anti-Semitism, but that doesn't mitigate our ability to call out hate when it's directed at people because of their Muslim faith, because of the color of their skin, because of where they're from, because of who they love. And again, hate is a disease that will ultimately kill all of us. That's why we speak out, and that's why we're trying to push for change. So I should just point out, we're pushing for something that was proposed just this week in Congress by Senators Lankford and Rosen, the Jewish American Security Act, that would increase funding to provide security grants to all houses of worship, whether you're a synagogue or a mosque or a church. No one should be able to assail the people inside.
And Congressman Moskowitz was on our show earlier this week.
Right.
And he released a series of truly hateful messages, voicemails that he received, very anti-Semitic and disgusting. It does seem like, I mean, violent acts are, of course, the extreme of this, but there also seems to be almost a permission structure in place where people feel like they can say things now, whether it's online or in this case in voicemails, that even 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, they wouldn't have.
I mean,
why is that?
Well, I think social media has coarsened the conversation and numbed us, right? People feel like they can say or do anything. But there's something really important what you're saying. People in power, leaders need to lead. Like here in New York, we've had people like coming up to synagogues with Hezbollah and Hamas flags, and our mayor isn't calling that out. Look, you've got to call out hate wherever it happens, but especially on our own side. When again, people on the left call out Jews or attack other people, leaders on the left need to call it out, just like we need leaders on the right to show a degree of dignity and call out that kind of hate.
Right.
I really appreciated your last guest, Matthew Bartlett, what he was saying about January the 6th. There were people rampaging through that building wearing sweatshirts that said 6MWE, 6 million wasn't enough. Like, who can say that these people were heroes or patriots? So all of us need to call out hate, and we don't get to pick and choose Nazi symbols, Hamas symbols. Hate is hate, and it needs to be condemned.
CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, thank you for coming in.
I so appreciate you, and let's let the memory of Sarah and Yaron always be a blessing.
Absolutely. Thank you.